Altered. There is magic in the mundane, bliss in the banal. The day is your dharma. I'm your host, Amaryllis, Ayurvedic health counselor, yogini, and Akashic Records reader, and this is your life, Altered. Hello, starseeds! Welcome back. And if you don't know what I mean when I say starseeds, please listen to the past episode. So welcome here. It is the first Akashic Sunday session that I'm doing since April. And I'm back to regular podcasting. And of course, I wanted to get back into the Akashic Sunday sessions. If you have never heard them before, then please know that I open the Akashic Records and for the audience of this podcast, and then I channel a message, what needs to be heard for the collective, for the audience today. And when I say today, that doesn't mean a specific point in time. It means right now, but right now could also mean any time you happen to listen to this. There isn't really linear time in the way that it's really thought of as forward moving and very linear. So whenever you're listening to this message is a good time, is the right time. Before I get into this week's message, I want to first speak to the fact that we have a powerful week coming up. We have the full moon tomorrow, which it might be today for you. Monday is a full moon. I'm recording this right now on a Sunday. Wednesday, we have the equinox, a really powerful, powerful day. No matter what you're doing on Wednesday, please make sure to take at least, 30 minutes to sit in some sort of prayer, meditation, something to honor this shift into a quieter time of year, a more introspective one. And also this week, I'm planning on starting my fall cleanse or reset. I don't love the word cleanse so much because it really gives the idea of stripping away, or that, there's a lot of bad stuff and I need to strip it away because it's so bad. No, I like to think of it as more of a reset. But when I say reset, people don't always understand what that means. So I say cleanse, and then it kind of gets you going in the right direction. But for me, it's really a reset where I take a pause. Just 5 days of kitchery. It's a mono diet, easy to digest, but it's still nourishing. So I'm not starving myself. I limit the things that I take in. I limit activities. It's meant to be a pause. And there's this whole thing around it, this whole routine, rituals, processes that I do. I think I'm in my 4th year of this. I do it every fall, every spring. And if you are at all interested in kind of what I do to prepare for the cleanse and how I move through the cleanse, then you're welcome to go back to episode 10. It was recorded or released on March 14th. So you can listen to that episode, and it kind of breaks down some things to consider for your own fall cleanse. And it doesn't have to be this week. You could do it, depending especially on where you live, anytime until probably late October, maybe even at the latest, maybe early November. Yeah, but it depends on where you live. So I'm heading into the reset. This is just a big, big week. And next week, I am planning on releasing what I call altered elixirs. And it's going to be these essences that, these liquid drops that are essences of flowers and crystals, gemstones, and essential oils to help star seeds. And so this first one that is coming out is called 3D to 5D connection. And it's meant for the star seeds on the planet to help ground into the 3D, meaning the physicality of the world, and then also connect vibrationally with the higher, the 5D, the higher consciousness, a higher, more elevated vibration. I have both of these because we're not meant to just ascend out of our own reality and like space cadet our way out of living our human life. It's got to be both. It's got to be both. There has to be this downward movement, rooting, grounding, as well as an opening up and a lifting, and as it's called nowadays, an ascension. It's both. So I'm excited because tomorrow I am going to a natural spring to collect the water, living water. I don't know that I've ever had water straight from a spring. So it's a local spring here in Oregon. So I have all the ingredients and I'm going to be making that and charging it all in the light of the full moon. So if you're interested, stay tuned. I'm going to be releasing them next week. That's the plan, if everything comes through on time. So fingers crossed, but yes, I will definitely be creating them this week. Yeah, so altered elixirs coming your way, starseeds. Now let's get into the message for this week for the audience of the Altered podcast. What I do is I open the Akashic Records and then I ask the question, what needs to be heard right now? What is the message for the audience right now, for the listeners right now? And it was that in the spring I would just directly channel it, and I would record myself channeling it. And it used to be that when I went into the Akashic Records, I would channel it and I would just open my mouth and speak, and the words just kind of came through. But interestingly enough, ever since Mom passed away, it has been different. So I now have, it actually doesn't really come through in the same way. Like I don't just open my mouth and just start speaking it. I actually have visuals, which I didn't have before. And all of this is because it's happening not so much in my own records when I go in, but when I'm doing Akashic mini messages for people. So FYI, you can purchase these. It's $22. The link is in the show notes. So you purchase it for $22, and I open your Akashic record and ask what is the message that needs to be heard, and it's just your record. And so this is how I know that it's definitely different, is because visuals have been coming through for each of the people that are purchasing these. Visuals are coming through in a way that they never did before, and also downloads. So it's a little hard for me to describe, but it's like a box gets dropped in front of me, and it's like all the information, and then I kind of have to unbox it, unpack it, or like a spool of thread. Like all of it is just dunk right there, and then I have to speak it and like unwind that thread off of the spool. So it's not so much the channeling speaking, it's different. So if you're used to that way that I was doing in the spring, it's definitely going to sound different this time, because it's usually just me trying to figure out the language to describe what I'm seeing, what I'm feeling, and what was just downloaded, and kind of trying to take it all out of the box, or like a zip file, and I have to unzip that file and take out all the contents and just like describe it and say it. And so it's different. Just wanted to give you a heads up. Without further ado, let's get into the message for today. As I'm recording here, I'm just going to press pause. I'm going to say the opening prayer and wait for the message to come through, and then I'm going to unpause and speak it and tell it, talk about it, relay it. Here we go. Okay, so what came through was this image, I felt it within myself, that all of a sudden there was a line straight through the center of me, and one side was black and the other side was white, like on the color spectrum, black and white, and there was a very clear line, split straight through the center, and then both of those sides started to pull apart and separate. And the message was that we're dividing. We're dividing ourselves. And it made me think of this time, actually, I think it was in April, or no, it was in May. I was in a deep meditation, and I heard this message that I swear came from, the far out, and it kind of echoed through time and space. And it was this voice that was saying, they're always going to try to divide you. They're always going to try to divide you. If we are now in a space where we are saying something is right and I am right, then it makes you wrong. And we're in a place now in that we're attacking other fellow human beings and feeling completely justified in doing so. And there's this big split in humanity, and we're dividing. We're turning on each other. This will not and cannot carry us forward. There has to be a sense of wholeness and oneness and an understanding and compassion that these are other human beings, just like myself, just like yourself. And they may not see things the same way you do. They may have different beliefs. They may look different. But they aren't actually that different. And they have their imperfections just as you and I do. And me thinking that I'm right automatically makes anybody else who comes into my field wrong. And this is a division that comes from the mind and not from the heart. There's a plea and a call to ask each of us to reflect on the ways that we are attacking other human beings in any way that is, slandering them behind their backs, talking about a group of people, publicly shaming them. And the way that goes these days is on social media, simply because they have a different viewpoint. It's a new type of war. It's a new type of war, and yeah, it's the division of forces. It's the division of the heart. It's the division of the people. And have we ever seen this in history before? Yes, we definitely have, in different ways. But does anything good come from this when we decide that other people are wrong? No. This division that is being shown, this kind of black, white, straight through the center, separating, that there is no gray, that there is no compassion, there is no understanding for other fellow human beings, also reflects a division within our own self, that there is a division between, I guess, mind and heart, and when I say heart, it's really the soul, what the soul came here to express. The soul is here for love, not romantic love, and not love like, hey, let's get married and have kids together and buy a house kind of love. No, a true sense of love. And most of us really can't even fathom what that kind of love is. But this visual that was shown in the Akashic record is a split in our own selves. So of course, when we have that split in our own self, our own heart and mind, because the mind is judging and determining what is right, what is okay, and not looking, it's kind of like looking right in front of itself, like what is right in front of it, instead of zooming out and seeing the big picture. And then when I mean big picture, I mean big, big, big picture. And that's when you can start to see and understand and have love and compassion for fellow humans. We don't move forward on this planet in any way, shape, or form when we're attacking one another in these ways. It's just a new form of warfare in this modern age, in this digital age. And yeah, they're always going to try to divide you. If we're talking about right and wrong, we're really talking about right as being the highest form of love. And know that love doesn't mean accepting inappropriate behavior or boundary crossing or anything like that. It's not tolerating, it's not accepting the bad things, the mistreatments. And it also isn't slamming other human beings because they have a different viewpoint. Interestingly enough, as I was kind of meditating on this visual of the split in half, and as I was just saying this about the love, the black and the white sides came together and just emerged into this like rainbowish swirling person. It's the unified whole self, whole soul, operating from a bigger picture of love and understanding. And what a beautiful place to be. And that it can be a practice for sure. A practice to see others through this lens, to see ourselves through this lens, and to not enact warfare in certain ways on fellow humans simply because we feel that we are right. Pay attention to the division. Pay attention to all the subtle ways that someone or something, some movement is creating a division. You might not be right, and also they might not be wrong. And also, you might be right, and they also might be right. There might not be one true, ultimate right or wrong. Okay, so that's the message from the records for this audience for this week, is to notice that division, or where you've drawn a very clear line in your life and said, I'm right, they're wrong. What the F are they thinking? And then hating on people. Where has this happened in your life? And, I don't pay much attention to the news. I don't follow a whole lot. So I'm not steeped in this very much, but I do get the sense, yeah, there's a lot of polarity going on the planet, and especially in the US, and in particular surrounding COVID and what should be done, and vaccines, and yeah, all the things. So it's worth the reflection for oneself to see how this is showing up in your life and in your world. May these messages and these teachings not just land in the mind, and may you not just hear them with the front of your brain and process them cerebrally, but may the vibration also land within you, that these messages are meant to be multi-sensory and landing in the mental body, the physical body, the subtle body, the energy body. It's affecting and vibrating all of you, and you're able to receive these messages in a way that lands deeply within you and resonates and vibrates and helps create your own understandings and your own intuitive hits of what this is and what this means and what this how this plays out in your own life. Thanks again, and I will touch base with you again next week Until then, blessings, beautiful starseeds. Remember that spirit guides but never decides. How will you choose this hour, this day, this week at the altar of your life? Thank you so much for listening. If you feel called, subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it. Also, connect with me and discover more on Instagram at Amaryllis_Fernandez. Until next time.